Hello everyone, I'm Axel, welcome to ATEC Reviews. Today's video I'm going to be reviewing the Binary Acoustics DynaQuattro, a 4 dynamic driver IM. Yeah, you heard that right, 4 dynamic driver IM. Binary Acoustics is the brand that produced Chopin that I always recommend and I love. It seems the brand laid low after that, and I like that actually. They stayed low, they engineered something unique and different, and now today we have the DynaQuattro. I'm going to show you the IM quickly, and then I'm going to be comparing it with a few IMs that I have that I think really will allow you to understand when I describe the sound quality it offers. I will be comparing it to the Softears Volume 1DD2 BAIM. I will be comparing it to the Juzear 61T, my current reference and benchmark at under $300. Probably this is the best IM I have under $300 without a question. And I will be comparing it to the DaVinci as there are similarities. I want to highlight differences between these IMs. And let's begin. So this is the beautiful box it comes with. There's this gears theme thing going on, which looks nice. It looks beautiful. Anyway, you open the box and you find this nice case. It's a Pelican case. I'm guessing it's shockproof and waterproof, and it's so it's a very, very nice case. And you can adjust here the rope and stuff like that. You open that and you find a smaller plastic case, and what you get inside is just 2 generic sets of ear tips. A nice move, in case you lose your own set, because most of us use 1 or 2 different sizes. So if you lose one, you have another. They're just regular silicone ear tips, nothing fancy. And then you get 3.5. The cable is modular. It has 3.5 and 4.4 in the box. And then you get a small manual. And then you get the cable itself. The cable is pretty nice. It's not really thin, but on the average side of things. I would describe it as that. Anyway, let's give it the ATEC reviews test, where I wrap it around my finger and I wrap it around itself and just pull it like that, where it creates a mess. And let's see if, it's very straight. It doesn't tangle. That's a quality test right there. Anyway, it's a really nice cable. It stays like that. It doesn't have any memory, with the exception, of course, of the ear hooks here, which you can see they end right there. And it's a flat 2-pin, which is my favorite type of connection. It looks exactly like the Nova. This is the cable of the Nova that I have. It seems exactly that style. This is my favorite style, to be honest. And when you put it here, it goes into that slightly recessed 2-pin connection, which is excellent. There is a cinch slider here, by the way. Everything here is made out of metal, and it's high quality, and it stays. See, it doesn't drop, it doesn't droop, anything like that. Anyway, excellent cable, and it's modular here. You just screw it like that, and you pop this off, and there you go. I will leave the cable here for the moment. Let's look at the IM earpieces themselves. I think they look beautiful. This is all subjective, of course. It's a matter of personal opinion, but you can just look and see. Where do you guys think the vent is located? Try to have a guess. It's located right here, in the middle of that gear. Again, a nice move. Can appreciate that. If you look even close, according to the light, if I shine a light on it, I think you will be able to see the dynamic drivers. Anyway, this is how it is, and this is how they look. Let's talk about the sound. Enough. Anyway, let's talk about the sound. Let's put up the graph. Let's look at the graph. Let's talk about the sound. Because I think this is going to be one of my favorite IMs under 300, like the 61T. So let's compare them. Let's first talk about DynaQuattro by itself. What do we see here from the graph? Let's see. We see a very nice sub-bass extension. We see an excellent bass response, not overly bassy, not overly below neutral or anything like that, not lacking. We see an excellent flat lower mid-range, and then we see a very nice boost in the upper mid-range, and it seems that they did something which I really love, which you can see here, the downward slope from 4 to 6K, and then there's like an upper treble extension at the end. So how does it sound to my ear? Well, to my ear, the first thing that jumps at me is the excellent quality of the bass and sub bass as well, and I would describe both of them as using words like deep, low reaching, meaty, visceral, impactful, has an excellent slam and impact, very fast attack, very thumpy, quality is textured, it's detailed, it's one of the best bass responses you can hear, and it's not overly bassy. Like, this is what my mind is thinking when I look at something like this. I thought, oh, for dynamic driver is going to be so bassy, but that couldn't be further from the truth. The bass is just slightly above neutral, but so beautiful. This is what I want to hear in an IM. This is where my preference is at like the bass region, maybe even a dB more of mid bass. The sub bass has a very excellent boost that adds that rumble, that adds that detail, and it makes everything sound much more fun. The bass doesn't over empower like the lower mid range or anything like that. You get a very clear separation between them. The transition is done in a very smooth way. You will not notice it, and it's very nice. Lower mid range doesn't sound thin, doesn't sound like weak or anything like that. It has the normal natural weight of it. Male vocals sound naturally thick. Everything is beautiful. Again, like 10 out of 10, the way it was implemented perfectly. Moving on to the mid-range, I think other than the bass, I think this is the star of the show here in this IM, because this is where my preferences lie, folks. Because the vocals and the mid-range like that, when it's done right, like here, it just adds a lot of elements to the music. A lot of instruments are in the mid-range, and I don't like for it to be pulled back a bit. Not every brand can do that, and I'm not sure exactly why I'm investigating this issue. Like, some IMs will have a level of mid-range, but then they sound shouty, and then other IMs could have a more emphasized mid-range, but it will never sound shouty, but you will hear just goodness. You will hear like instruments and details, and I don't know exactly why, but anyway, I'm telling you what I hear here. Like the Studio 4, I love this sound signature. I love a vocal forward sound signature. I prefer, if it is pulled back, I prefer that to being shouty. Absolutely. If you're going to give it to me like shouty, no, pull it back is better. But if you can do it, and you can give me detail and highlighted mid-range, that's where my preferences lie. That's where I love it, because you can listen to orchestral music, you can listen to violins, you can listen to electric guitars, tambourines, bongos, like K-pop and J-pop, and you can hear all that delicious vocals and all these beautiful sounds like around you, and it is just a delightful sound signature that's just amazing. And when you have the bass not overpowering the mids like that, like, this is like heaven. This is just so fun, and this is how it should be done. Moving on, again, we have a downward slope here from 4 to 6K, and like I have to say, like JTIS, another great reviewer, he opened my eyes to this when I watched one of his videos, and he made me think, and I noticed that every IM, almost everyone I loved, had a downward slope from 4 to 6K, just makes things tolerable, and nothing is shouty and so on, and I don't perceive any shoutiness with the DynaQuattro, no sibilance whatsoever. Treble is like almost perfect. The only thing it lacks, it has a lot of detail and a lot of clarity and stuff like that, but the only thing it lacks, but I wish it had more air. I think it would like make the presentation different. But what they did here has a lot of clarity up top, has a lot of sizzle. You will hear everything without it being sharp or sibilant or anything like that. Timbre is as natural as timbre can be. It's so natural. Of course, no BA timbre, nothing like that. You're talking about dynamic driver here. It's going to be preferred, you know, like by a lot of people in terms of naturalness of in terms of detail retrieval, imaging and stuff like that, it is excellent and beyond the price, and I will explain that in the comparison segment. That's the description. Let's talk about the comparison. I will begin the comparison with the Chopin. The differences, I will talk quickly about the tuning differences. Of course, we find more sub-bass on the DynaQuattro and more upper mid-range. There is like a highlight there. It doesn't sound shouty at all, zero, I'm telling you, and I'm responsible for my statement. And then you find the Chopin has a more flat 46K, but we find the DynaQuattro has that downward excellent slope that I'm talking about from 46K. Maybe this is why things don't sound shouty on it. That goes down. So it's much better than the Chopin in that regard, much more tolerable. And then you find the treble almost the same. This is the graph, what the graph tells us. Everything else I'm listening to my ear, the DynaQuattro is a big and huge upgrade to the Chopin, like much better. The bass has much better quality, much better slam. It's more textured, it's more detailed. The sub-bass rumble is insane, and it's well balanced at the same time. The mid-range is not, some people describe the vocals of the Chopin as a bit thin. Not the case here, not the case here. The timbre is much better, no BA timbre, no coldness of the sound that some people say they found the Chopin. I don't, but some people say they feel it like that. And the 46K area of the Chopin is a little bit old, but DynaQuattro removes that at all. And as a matter of fact, they even add more vocal clarity and mid-range forwardness, which is really awesome. And both of them have a similar treble response, but DynaQuattro excels in the detail, excels in the timbre, excels in the soundstage and imaging. The detail retrieval of the DynaQuattro is like a few steps above the Chopin. Moving on, I will compare it to the Softears Volume. I think the Softears cost like $285, something like that. They have a very similar curve with the exception of the bass, mid-bass, and sub-bass. I have to say, like, straight up, like the DynaQuattro is much better to me. Like it's a huge increase in sound quality, increase in detail. Like the Softears Volume, like I think is 2 years old or something like that. But when you compare it just to the DynaQuattro, you can see how things, like how IMs have improved a lot, because the level of detail the DynaQuattro offers, I feel it could have been sold at like 500, 600 a few years ago. Like it just, even if the tuning is similar, even if the graph is similar, the separation, the detail retrieval, the bass quality of the DynaQuattro is a few steps above the Volume. I like the Volume a lot, but it just, when you listen, it's side by side next to the DynaQuattro. Just, there is no comparison. This is one of those IMs where there is no comparison. Next IM I want to compare it to is, the DUNU DaVinci. A very good IM, a very nice IM, a very fun IM. But what I was going to say right now is probably going to be my subjective personal opinion based on my enjoyment and personal preferences. The DaVinci is going to do one thing better, or at least it does to me one thing better, which is the bass. The bass of the DaVinci is not only better in quantity, it's better in quality as well. It's better than anything here on this table in terms of bass quality and quantity, of course. It has like a nice quality to it, a nice detail, nice separation and texture, and just you feel it in your ear, and it's just kind of enjoyable. But again, the more I listen to it, the more I discover that it's not suitable with every music genre I have. It's great for movies, it's great for gaming, it's great for hip-hop and EDM, and it's not the best option for rock and metal. So it's not a universal recommendation for all types of music, specifically when you compare other IMs to it. DynaQuattro is one example of that. You can see the bass of the DynaQuattro. I would say maybe even the texture of the DynaQuattro is a bit different. It's a bit realistic. Like, you know, I wouldn't call it like neutral or anything, but it's just a bit more realistic sounding. Just the DaVinci is so much more. That small amount you see on the graph, man, in reality is like something else completely. The DaVinci is like vibrating in your ear with some bass heavy tracks. Whereas on the DynaQuattro, things are more balanced. When we reach to the vocals, again, like if you guys look back in my video about the DaVinci, and I even wrote that online, and I say that in my video that I wish the vocals of the DaVinci were a bit more, because the bass is just so powerful. It's just so empowering that it grabs your attention, and you can't focus on anything else. It's always there in the background, boom, 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 like that. And I wish it had more. I wish the vocals were tuned the way the DynaQuattro is, because the DynaQuattro has vocals that are the center of the music, and it's balanced with the bass, so you feel that you enjoy the bass. It's not over empowering or anything like that, and you enjoy the mid-range is nice, the instruments are nice, violins on the DynaQuattro and orchestral music, symphonic music is wow, so beautiful. On the DaVinci, you get grabbed, your attention is grabbed by the bass more and more, and here is where I think the DynaQuattro beats it again. First of all, the bass is going to make it, the DynaQuattro, of course I'm talking about it, is going to make it more applicable and better suited to many music genres, including my own preferences as well. It's just, for example, if I'm listening to K-pop and J-pop, I'm listening to Adele, I'm listening to Taylor Swift, I'm going to grab the DynaQuattro more because I want something more balanced and I want something that highlights the vocals for me. Same thing with rock and metal. Man, like, I want to hear those vocals, I don't want to, like the bass so much like that. Although the DaVinci is a lot of fun, still, that difference was so huge. As a matter of fact, like, when I compared them side by side, the DaVinci almost seemed recessed to me. But it's not recessed, of course. The mid-range is not recessed on the DaVinci. I'm repeating, not. But it's just, guys, when you're like in a room that has AC, or like in a shopping mall or something like that, and you just step outside, you just feel outside is hot because of that, sudden comparison. Same thing here, just the vocals on the DynaQuattro are heaven. The mid-range is tuned in a way that you hear things highlighted, like instruments and vocals, and that is my preferred way. Still, the DaVinci is great, but other than that, when we move on to the treble, DynaQuattro again wins for me. Better treble quality, better detail. And when we compare the detail, I have to say the DaVinci has more detail in the bass, and maybe in the treble, like, they're close to each other. I think the DynaQuattro has higher treble quality and sound, but in terms of detail, they're both similar. And when we come to the mid-range, DynaQuattro has more detail in the mid-range. Of course, it's vocal forward and mid-range centric, so you hear these things more, and it has a lot of detail. Earlier, I felt that DaVinci had like slightly more detail, but when I really listened in a quiet room and I compared them, I just noticed that the sound stage of the DaVinci is closer, it's more intimate, so your perceived sounds closer to your ear. When I began to focus on the nuances of the music, the micro details, I began noticing that the DynaQuattro offered slightly more detail than the DaVinci. Moving on. Now the comparison is moving on to the Butterfly 620. Like this IM is like living inside my heart. I love it so much, and I stand by my statement. One of the best IMs I have heard under 1000, and definitely the best IM I have heard under 300. Can compete even with higher IMs than that, higher priced IMs. Let's just compare to the DynaQuattro. Can the DynaQuattro compete? Well, actually, the DynaQuattro can compete, yes, and both of them are the best to me on the 300. Let me just show you guys the differences, because I don't think the DynaQuattro is better or the 620 is better. I cannot say that. I just think both of them are different, and they're tuned for different purposes and offer different qualities and stuff like that. Let me show you. First of all, the case that comes with it. I will just compare things for you, and it will show you what are the differences between them. They're very close in sound, by the way, with the exception of a few things. First of all, this is the case that comes with the Juzear. Again, a nice case, pocketable case. You can put that in your pocket. Now, the Binary provides a very nice, protective Pelican case. It's not exactly pocketable, but, both of them are unique and useful in their own ways. In terms of ear tips, like the Juzear comes with this set of ear tips right here. With the binary, we talked about it, it comes with these two sets of ear tips. Again, comparable, nothing is better than the other. In terms of cable, you can find the 61T comes with this excellent white cable. It's a bit thicker than the cable of the DynaQuattro. It's not a modular cable, so you have to choose between either 3.5 millimeter or 4.4. The DynaQuattro comes with another excellent cable, a bit thinner but high quality as well, and it offers the option of being modular and gives you like 3.5 and 4.4 in the box. In terms of sound isolation, the 61T has better passive sound isolation. So this is going to make make you use less volume. It will be loud enough, and it's giving you more isolation, more enjoyment in the music in that way. The DynaQuattro is actually a bit harder to drive. It's not a hard to drive IM. It just needs a bit more current. So for example, I recommend, actually I tested it, I recommend anything with like 200 to 250 to 300 milliwatts at 32 ohms. Stay at the 250 to 300 if you want to unlock it, because I use 200 milliwatts like BTR7 and the K11 and stuff like that. They sound good, but you're using the amp at its max level or like 80%, So I prefer to have some more headroom. Like 250 milliwatts to 300 is going to be excellent. It scales well, of course, with better amplification. The 61T is very sensitive. It doesn't need something like that at all. So these are just general differences. Fit and comfort and nozzle, I will post it. Both of them are comfortable in their own ways. Both of them, I don't feel them in my ear. Both of them are excellent. All right, so let's talk about the sound. What are the differences in the sound? In the bass, they're both very similar, but I have to give the slight edge to the DynaQuattro. It just has a different type of impact to the bass and a different quality of it. Specifically, even the sub bass is just rumbles a bit differently, and it makes things sound a bit visceral, if you know what I mean. Like you feel the 61T. It gives you the feeling that it's just balanced with the rest of the frequencies. Like it's not jumping at you. With the DynaQuattro, you feel just, that bass is just visceral. It's just meaty. It's just giving a lot of weight to a lot of things in the sound. But again, it's very close. Like it's very, very close. And like I compare them for a lot of time, actually. Like spend a few hours doing that. And the differences are really small. Like there are only one or two big things I'm going to talk about. If we talk about the lower mid-range, the 61T is a slightly warmer presentation. So male vocals and things like that sound a bit warmer, sound a bit fuller, a bit richer. But again, the bass of the DynaQuattro compensates for that, and it's really deep hitting, and it's really rich, and it's really enjoyable, and it's just vibrating. It's really nice. It's more tactile as well. Like I feel it slightly more than I feel the bass of the 61T. Both of them are super close and super excellent. Moving on to the upper mid-range, here is really, in my personal opinion, is like the only reason to get one over the other. The DynaQuattro has a vocal forward or a mid-range forward sound signature, so you're going to perceive vocals with more clarity. I read some of you guys said that the vocals of the 61T are not as forward as you would like. Actually, the vocals of the 61T are good enough and are forward enough to my ears. I'm being honest here. Like they're even better than the DaVinci. The DaVinci even have a lot of bass that grabs your attention and overpowers the mids sometimes. But with the 61T, I would call it neutral. In my honest opinion, it's neutral. It's balanced with the rest of the signature, and it appears even forward and clear. It's just the DynaQuattro pushes that envelope a few steps above, and it's way forward. It's like the Softears Studio 4. It's just way forward. Maybe even more than it should be, but it's very enjoyable. It's very clear and clean, and you just hear the violins and the guitars, and all these things are just in the forefront. Whereas on the 61T, they're neutral and they're balanced, and everything is just nice, and you can just, enjoy everything. But on the DynaQuattro, you feel, wow, the vocals, the mid-range, the instruments, these things pop. Wonderful, wonderful. Again, this is the real difference between them. They're so close, and it's funny how each of them has like a different driver configuration. That's why I don't care about the driver configuration. I care about the sound in the end, because they sound so close to each other. And you know, this one uses one dynamic 6BA, this one uses 4DD. So anyway, talking about the treble, I have to give the edge of the treble here to the 61T. It has noticeable clarity and better air, and it has a lot of definition and more detail in the treble. And again, it's noticeable. Another thing I noticed is that the 61T has more depth to the soundstage, whereas the DynaQuattro focuses on the width aspect. The 61T has that width, but has more depth to it. But you need powerful amplification to get that. When I used like powerful amplifiers, I noticed the DynaQuattro opened up completely, like the dynamics of the sound and the bass and the soundstage of it, everything like transformed. It became like almost another IM, whereas with the 61T, I didn't get that effect, and it was the same sounding with like dongles and BTR7 to my desktop A90 as well. It was the same. In terms of detail retrieval, after hours and hours of comparing them, I can tell you confidently, so close to each other. Like in the bass, they're almost the same. In the mid-range, of course, you're getting more clarity and detail on the DynaQuattro. It makes sense because of how forward the mid-range is. You hear more vocals, you hear more instruments more clearly. But on the 61T, I'm hearing the treble more clearly. High-frequency sounds are much more clear on the 61T. So I think they balance each other out. Which one would I choose? Honestly, guys, it's the mid-range only. Like I'm telling you that after all the differences I said, in my opinion, the differences are going to come down to that. The detail is just so similar, and both of them are much better than the competition and much better than higher IMs even. But which one would you choose? I think if you like vocals, if you like instruments, if you like a more forward mid-range that is going to never sound shouty, you want the vocals to pop, you want to hear like acoustic guitars and violins and all these instruments, you want them to pop in the forefront of your music, the DynaQuattro is going to offer you that. Just make sure you have a nice dongle with it, a nice portable DAC amp you can use so that it can unlock that soundstage and unlock the dynamics and unlock these details. If you just want something neutral, if you want something balanced all throughout, something that still has actually a forward vocal signature as well, you're going to hear a lot of detail, but it's going to be balanced with the rest of the frequencies. Everything else is going to be perfect. A lot of detail, a lot of technicalities, excellent soundstage as well, and easier to drive. I think the 61T is the better option, and it's going to give you a better passive sound isolation as well. I cannot highly recommend these two IMs. More than that, they are excellent. I agree that both of these are honestly my best IMs that I've ever heard on the $300. These two are the best in my opinion. I just love them. There's no. That's it, guys. This review almost reached half an hour. I was careful with a lot of my descriptions. I don't want to hype anything up. I just want to give you guys my honest opinion so that when you pay money, you come back and you write to me in the comment section and say everything I said was right. Everything was what you expected for me to give to you. Nothing was better or worse. I just laid out everything here. To recap, an excellent IM, an excellent level of bass and sub-bass, forward mid-range that never sounds shouty at all, zero shoutiness and sibilance. I stand by that. A lot of clarity. I just wish it had more air. 61T does everything it does. Same level of detail, almost the same. Just has better treble, but the mid-range is not as the DynaQuattro. The DynaQuattro gets that edge. I prefer these to any other IM I have that costs $300 or even slightly more. That's it, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, subscribe if you find my content useful. And until then, see you on the next one. I'm out. Bye.